Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and it is day 1 of the 12 days of CRAFTmas. Now this week, I'm going to be sharing a paper craft project, and also my friend Vicky from Clips and Cuts is sharing a really cute Christmas card. You're going to have to check it out. I'll put a link in the video description so you can find her awesome video. We are going to make a couple giant tags today, and I am using the Pointsettia stamps and dies from Stampendous. It's a really fun and easy project. Let's get started. Begin by inking up your stamp with Ranger Archival ink, or whatever waterproof ink you like. I'm going to stamp it 4 times on a piece of watercolor paper so I can make 2 giant tags. I'm going to show you how to cut these out in layers so that you're only going to need 2 images for each layered poinsettia. Now I'm going to use the dies that go with these, but if you're just going to make a couple, I would skip the dies and, just use the stamps. They're pretty easy to cut out by hand. So now what I'm doing is spraying my paper with water and then squeezing on some color burst powder. These are really fun watercolor powders to use. If you don't have these, you could try tie-dye powder. It would work just as well. It just might not be quite as vivid. I'm using different shades of reds, yellows, and greens to get a really rich color. Don't worry about trying to keep your colors within the lines. That is not an option here. You can spray more water and kind of tip your paper around to help the colors flow. The beauty of this particular product is that you get these unexpected results. And if you find that you don't have pigment some places you want it, then just use a brush and help move the pigment around like I did here. You can also give a squirt of powder anywhere you feel like you want your color a little more intense. Remember, they're watercolors, so they are going to dry a little lighter. If you have any big puddles anywhere you don't have an image, just blot it gently with a paper towel, and that will help it dry quicker. You can leave it alone to dry, or you can speed it up with a hairdryer. But if you want any shine to it, like I do, you can take a little pearlized powder, I've got some Pearl-Ex here, and just tap a little on and spread it around with your brush while it's still wet. That'll give it that beautiful pearlescent look that really expensive Christmas cards have. So it's just a nice way to kind of get the look at home. While that's drying, let's work on our tag base. I have a half sheet of cardstock here, and I'm clipping the corner off of one edge. Then I'm going to hold that corner over to the other side, and I'm going to use that as a template to cut against. And that way it'll make sure that both sides of the top of my tag are even and that it looks perfectly symmetrical. Now I'm going to use that same stamp that we used in the background, and I'm going to ink it up with some Prisma water-soluble oil pastels. You can also use watercolor crayons, Inktense blocks, or even watercolor paint for this. I'm coloring the rubber with the different crayons, and I sprayed the rubber first to make it damp so it would grab the pigment. You can also dip the crayons into the water first, into a bucket of water for a second, and color it that way. That's going to give me some really interesting colors, some really interesting textures, and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just kind of like the under layer for building our die cut shapes. Then I took a little bit of the color burst powder and some water, and I'm painting in some of the flower petals. And you can do those in red or green, because with poinsettias the leaves and flowers are actually the same petal. They just kind of turn red as they go. Now I'm using this really large music background stamp, and it's by Hero Arts, but you could use a text or a crackle or a script or whatever you want, just to kind of go over this and give it another layer of texture and interest. I'm using a really light brown ink called Creamy Caramel from Stampin' Up. I'm not sure if that ink is still available, but any sort of light tan ink would be beautiful. You'll need to stamp this about 4 times to cover a large tag this size. And I like the unmounted stamp there because I can really press it down and make sure that it's coming in contact with the paper. Now, to give this a little bit more of a distressed look, I'm going to take the ink pad and go around all the edges of the tag. Now, if you don't want to do that with an ink pad, you could also do that with chalk or, metallic rub-ons or whatever you have. We're going to continue building layers, and I'm using a product called Texture Magic, which is basically a stencil paste. You can also use latex caulking from the hardware store, plus whatever acrylic paint you want to tint it with. It's really not that different from anything you could buy in the store. And I'm just scraping this across my stencil using a plastic palette knife. You could also use an old gift card or credit card to do the same thing. This is going to give us a beautiful texture overlaid on our stamping and watercoloring. It looks great, and it adds that lovely tactile feel. I hope you try this with whatever stencils you have. Anything that's kind of flourishy will look great. The stencil I'm using is actually from Die Cuts with a View, and it was part of a paper pack craft kit that I got at Joann's about a month ago. So it is a new product. If you're looking for it, it should be easy to find. Now I'm stamping on the label Season's Greetings that came with the Pointsettia stamp set, and I'm going to die cut that along with the green panel so that I have a matted sentiment. I'm also going to die cut out my layers of the poinsettia while I'm at it. I noticed that I forgot about the little berries in the center of my card here, so what I'm going to do is just stamp them with waterproof ink, spray them with water, and use some more of the color bursts to color them. I'm also going to put a little bit of gold pearlex on there. Glitter glue would be really pretty for an embellishment too if you didn't have the gold mica powder, or if you wanted to do something different. Oh, and also anytime I'm using the mica powder, if you don't have that and you want a cheap option, you can use any metallic eyeshadow. I know the Dollar Tree has some, so you know, you don't have to go and spend a lot of money on this. Use what you have, even if it comes from your makeup box. Now the next thing I'm going to do is layer on my die cut poinsettias. So you can see here on this bottom layer, I had also cut the top layer out of the same piece, because it doesn't matter that that hole is there, you're going to cover it up with the subsequent layers of your flower petals. So, you know, you can save a little money and a little bit of time and a little bit of supplies by doing it this way. I'm bending the petals on my poinsettia layers. I don't know if it's poinsettia or poinsettia. Let me know in the comments below. And I am gluing them down with the layers bent a little bit so I get that dimension. I'm using hot glue because I found that I can keep a lot of the dimension by using gobs of hot glue. If you let it dry just for a couple seconds before you press it to your surface, it will kind of keep that dimension. And here you can see all three layers of petals stacked up. And for the center, I'm just putting a little drop of hot glue in the middle. You could use a pop dot if that scares you, trying to, you know, handle that much glue. And then I'm just gently setting that little middle piece in place. And you can see the lovely texture. So you've got the flat back of the tag, you've got the stencil paste that is giving us that medium texture, then you get the high texture of the flowers. Now I'm adding some metallic rub-ons, and I mentioned this product before, and I'm recently in love with this product. I've had it for like 10 years. It is a wax paste that dries through absorption, so you can rub it on your paper craft products and it dries almost instantly. It gives you a beautiful subtle gilt look, and mine are 10 years old and they're still usable and fine. Now I'm using 3D foam tape to add my sentiment to the tag, and I'm adding a little bit more of the metallic rub-ons to the edge. I actually bought these at a scrapbook store back when my son, who's now 13, was a tiny little baby, and I bought one of every color because the packages were like $4 or something. They're really cheap, and I mean, I've gotten so much use out of these. I really can't recommend it enough, and it is still being made. So the company is CRAFTmas products if you're looking for it. Now I chose a couple ribbons for this. I'm using a red grosgrain, a green organza, and a gold lame ribbon. I just thought those three colors looked really festive together, and I'm just threading them through the hole in the top, and I'm gonna just tie it in a double knot. Nothing fancy there. Now the reason I wanted to have this, you know, kind of just big and overstated is because I think it'd be really great to hang this on a Christmas tree and put a little pocket on the back so that you can tuck a gift certificate or a gift card in. That way it's not going to get lost. I know some of those little envelopes that they give you for gift cards are super tiny, and you set them on your Christmas tree, and I'm always afraid that I'm going to lose them. So what I've done here is taken a scrap of Christmas paper, and I'm just putting adhesive on 3 sides, and that's going to make a pocket. Then all I have to do is stick it on the back of my tag, and I'll be able to fit a little envelope in there, or a gift card or gift certificate, or whatever you want to put in there. So it just gives you just enough room, and then I can hang the tag from my tree with the ribbons. I can add another tie on there if I want to. So that's it for that tag. I thought that looked just fine the way it is, and I love the little bits of shine from all the metallic rub-ons there, and just the texture that we have. But I also thought I wanted to do the other one a little differently and use it for a gift package tag. Now this would be like the tag I put on the like awesomest present I'm giving somebody. And I went outside and I found some evergreen pieces, and these are cedar branches, and they lay flat, so they're just really perfect for this. I think you could probably get by doing this like a week or two in advance. I don't think they're going to dry out too quickly, but that is a concern. I wouldn't, you know, keep these tags for next year if you're going to put like real live evergreen fronds on it. But I just glued it down, and then I built my flower just like you did on the other one. I love my red and white striped baker's twine, and this is from Paper Mart, and I'm just going to wrap that around a couple times and tie it in a double bow just to give it a little bit of you know, just kind of whimsy and fun and extra texture. I just think it's such a wonderful packaging addition. Another thing I like about this is I can actually wrap the present in baker's twine and with craft paper and with baker's twine, put that big tag on there, and it's going to look fantastic. And I also like to glue a couple buttons down over my thread just to keep it from sliding off the bottom of the tag. I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, make sure you check out Vicky's wonderful Christmas card, and that will be linked down below along with a link to the playlist so you can see all of the 12 crafts of CRAFTmas. We'll be adding 2 new videos every week for the next 6 weeks, and I hope you check it out. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here and you're not already a subscriber. I'd love to have you. We have daily videos on all sorts of crafts. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.